Hi all, welcome back to this poetry summary session. In this video, we are going to discuss BA English 6th semester core course Women's Writing, that means Gender in Blossoms, sections 2 Poetry. Here we have a poem that is Emily Dickinson. She rose to her requirements. Emily Dickinson is an American poet. She was born in Amherst in Massachusetts in America on December 10th, 1830. At the time of her birth, Emily's father was an ambitious young lawyer. Emily Dickinson was educated at Amherst and as well in Yale. She is known as the Nun of Amherst, or her pseudonym is the Nun of Amherst, because she was born in Amherst. And why she is known as the nun? Because she always wore a white dress in her throughout in her life, and she led a secluded and isolated life, even from the family, even from the society. So she is known as the Nun of Amherst. Dickinson studied at Amherst Academy and Mount Holyoke Female Seminary. She led a secluded and isolated life until her death, except a short time, that was during her study time. She died of Bright disease in 1886. Bright disease means a kind of kidney disease that she suffered at the last time of her life. Dickinson's poems were collected and edited by her friends Mabel Loomis Todd and Thomas Wentworth Higginson. These two were her friends. So after her death, these friends edited and published these her poems. She has written more than 2,000 poems. Only a few poems were published in her lifetime. Emily Dickinson's poems have many identifiable features. What are the features of her poems? The major themes in her poetry include friends, nature, love, and death. Many of her poems' allusions come from her education in the Bible. Images and allusions she borrowed from Bible and from classical mythology and from studies on William Shakespeare. Dickinson did not give titles to her poems, which is an unusual feature of her poetry. That means her poems have no title. Others have given titles to some of her poems, and often the first line of the poem is used as title. ഇവിടെ ഒരു പോയത്തിനും ടൈറ്റിൽ ഇല്ലാതെയായിരുന്നു ഇവർ എഴുതിയിരുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഇവരുടെ എല്ലാ പോയത്തിനും ടൈറ്റിൽ കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് പോയത്തിൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ ലൈൻ തന്നെയാണ് ടൈറ്റിലായിട്ട് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. She used slant rhyme. What is slant rhyme? A slant rhyme is a type of rhyme with words that have similar but not identical sounds. Most slant rhymes are formed by words with identical consonants and different vowels. It is not like consonants or alliterations, but somewhat some difference in consonants and as well identical consonants and different vowels that she has used, or vice versa. Here we can see in worm and swarm. This is an example for slant rhyme, worm and swarm. Here we can see different vowels has been used. Okay, examples of slant rhyme. She wrote short lines in her poems, preferring to be concise in her images and references, and the poems did not have more than 6 stanzas. Most of her poems have no more than 6 stanzas. The rhythm of her poems is called common meter or ballad meter. What is ballot meter? Both types of meter consist of a quatrain with the first and third lines having 4 iambic feet and the second and fourth lines having 3 iambic feet. That means her poems will have 4 lines in one stanza, and in which first and third lines will have 4 iambic feet, and the second and fourth lines that will have 3 iambic feet. These combination of 4 iambic feet and 3 iambic feet is known as ballot meter or common meter that she used in her poems. Her poems contain images and themes that are still relevant in today's world. Her use of images aids readers in visualizing that themes. That means she picturizes her theme throughout her poems. In She Rose to His Requirement, Dickinson depicts images of a young woman's potential being denied through the theme of supposed female inferiority that still exists. In the poem, we have a young woman about to be married or just married, and in the process, she drops her personal characteristics. So, the title itself is She Rose to His Requirement. His here means husband. After marriage, she gives up all the dreams, wishes, desires, ambitions for the sake of her husband. In short, we can say she changes her timetable for the timetable of her husband. She is a representative of home angels in the poem. That home angel is silenced by male chauvinist or patriarchy. The poem is a feminist poem, and rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. 4 lines. There are 3 stanzas in the poem with 4 lines that rhymes with A, B, C, B. She dropped her dreams to please patriarchy. She lost all of her dreams, all of her desires, all of her wishes, her ambitions for what? To please patriarchy, to please husband. She has to satisfy the household, the domestic chores of her husband and her husband's home. So she dropped her dreams. We can see the poem itself. She rose to his requirement. The first line itself indicates that she rose to his requirement. His here means husband, her husband. She is married to satisfy her husband, or in other way, she rises from sleep every day to satisfy her husband. So she is married to satisfy her husband's requirement, her husband's things in her life. And in the process, that means she wants to satisfy the male dominated society, the patriarchy. In the process, she dropped something. She dropped what she dropped, the playthings of her life. Here, the playthings here means that the dreams, her desires, her wishes, her ambitions. That is here means the playthings of her life. She lost her playthings of her life. From a girl, she becomes a wife to take the honorable work of woman. She wants to take the honorable work of woman. The term or the word honorable is used here in an ironical sense. Who has assigned the work as honorable? The male patriarchy. So the word honorable is an ironical word, and that word mocks at male dominated society, or the word mocks at male chauvinist. So take the honorable work of woman, and after marriage she becomes a woman and she becomes a wife and of wife, and the society has assigned the role of a woman, the role of a wife, as honorable work in the house of a husband. If aught she missed in her new day, in her new day here means the marriage day, the day of marriage. If anything she has missed a lot of things in her life. Of amplitude here means that multiplicity of changes that she underwent after marriage. മാരേജിന് ശേഷം അവരുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ആ ഒരു മാറ്റം, അതിനെയാണ് ഓഫ് ആംപ്ലിറ്റ്യൂഡ്. ഓർ ഏവ് ഹിയർ മീൻസ് ഫീലിങ്സ് ഓഫ് റെസ്പെക്റ്റ് ആൻഡ് സ്ലൈറ്റ് ഫിയർ. ഫീലിങ്സ് ഓഫ് റെസ്പെക്റ്റ് ഓർ സ്ലൈറ്റ് ഫിയർ ഓഫ് അതേഴ്സ്, മറ്റുള്ളവരെ കുറച്ച് പേടിക്കുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റുള്ളവരോട് ഒരു പേടിയിലുണ്ടാവുന്ന ഭയം എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥമാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. ഹസ്ബൻഡിനോടുള്ള ഭയം എന്നുള്ള മീനിങ് ആണ് ഇവിടെ വരുന്നത്. എയ്വ് ഓർ ഫസ്റ്റ് പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് ഓഫ് prospective or the gold. Prospective means that anticipation. Neither does she mention her future expectations. She has lost all of her expectations in the future. She dreams of a good future in her life, but she misses in the process after her marriage. Or first prospective or the gold. Gold here means that not the physical gold but the spiritual. That means her dreams, her interest, her feelings, her desires. That means here gold. Gold wore away, that she lost. The dreams, the desires, wishes that has been faded with time. Everything that has been faded in using wore away. No one is there to share her thoughts and feelings. Later she recedes toward herself. That is the meaning here. She isolates herself into herself. And the poem presents a meek and mild woman in the poem who has given up everything to please the patriarchy. And it lay unmentioned. Here in the last stanza she make a comparison in having a simile here. As the sea develop pearl, her desires, her dreams, her wishes, her ambitions are like the pearl. How the sea develops pearl and weed. പവ്യങ്ങളെയും മുത്തുകളെയും ഒക്കെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരു കടലിൻ്റെ അടിത്തട്ടിൽ കടൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വെള്ളം എങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയെടുക്കുന്നത്, ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്തെടുക്കുന്നത്, അതേപോലെ all of her dreams, her desires, her wishes, her ambitions, her dreams, everything that has been lay unmentioned, ആരോടും പറയാതെ, ആരോടും പങ്കുവെക്കാതെ, ആരോടും ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാതെ അവരുടെ മനസ്സിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ അതിങ്ങനെ വളരുകയാണ്. ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ലേ അൺമെൻഷൻഡ് ആസ് that is compared to as the sea develop pearl and weed, but only to himself beyond the fathoms they abide. Here that means but only to himself here means that God. Only who can understand the depth of the feelings, depth of her ambitions, depth of her dreams, everything can only to be known to whom? Only to God. ദൈവത്തിന് മാത്രമേ അതിൻ്റെ ആഴം അറിയാൻ പറ്റുകയുള്ളൂ. The fathoms here means the fathoms here the depths. They abide. Those dreams, desires, ambitions, interest, everything they abide. അവർ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്ന ഈ ഒരു ടോളറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന, അവർ സഹിക്കുന്ന അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ആഴം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആർക്ക് മാത്രമേ അറിയാൻ പറ്റുന്നുള്ളൂ? ദൈവത്തിന് മാത്രമേ അറിയുകയുള്ളൂ. സോ woman's desires suppressed like the pearl and the weed hidden under the sea. That is the meaning here. She is suppressed by the male dominated society or her husband. So that the depth of that feelings and sufferings that only can be known by the God. ദൈവത്തിന് മാത്രമേ അത് അറിയുകയുള്ളൂ. and in the process husband, male dominated society or the patriarchy has represented a husband same as God. So she cannot talk against her husband, she cannot talk against the patriarchy. This poem, here we can see some of the meanings of the poem that you can read here. I have already explained it here. You pause the video and understand the meaning of some of the words in the poem. The poem presents a meek and mild woman who has given up everything to please the patriarchy. She can be treated as a representative of home angels silenced by the male chauvinist. This poem too can be read from a feminist point of view. The beginning of the poem records what women forsook. അവർ ഉപേക്ഷിക്കുന്നത് എന്താണോ, അവരെന്താണോ അബാൻഡൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, the pleasure and playthings of her life. അവരുടെ ജീവിതത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ആനന്ദങ്ങളെയും എല്ലാ കളിയും ചിരിയും എല്ലാ സംഭവങ്ങളും അവർ ഉപേക്ഷിക്കുന്നു. ആർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്? ഹസ്ബൻഡിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ആഫ്റ്റർ മാരേജ്. This may be a hint at how women are intimidated. Intimidated here means that frighten or overawe someone, especially in order to make them do what one wants. ഒരാൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്ന കാര്യം ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് മറ്റുള്ള ഒരാളെ പേടിപ്പിച്ച് നിർത്തുക എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ടെക്നിക്കാണ് ഇവിടെ പാട്രിയാർക്കി ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഹൗ വിമൻ ആർ intimidated in social institutions and how they fashion themselves as per the norms of the society and make suitable to do the honorable job of a wife. ഇങ്ങനെ ഇൻറ്റിമിഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് ഈ സ്ത്രീകൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ആവാനുള്ളവരാണ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്ന് അവർ മനസ്സിൽ വിചാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈ ചെയ്യപ്പെടുകയാണ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു അർത്ഥമാണ് ഇവിടെ പോയറ്റ് പറയുന്നത്. ദിസ് മ്യൂട്ട് പ്ലൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് വിമൻ ക്യാൻ ബി കോൺട്രാസ്റ്റഡ് ടു ദ ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് men in doing the same roles. The second stanzas also focuses on the submissive responses society expects from women. Second stanza talks about that women are always submissive. These submissive roles we expect, or the patriarchy expect the submissive role from the women. Society expect from women as she has rose to his requirements. The second stanza lists those precious things the women has got to lose. ഒരുപാട് സംഭവങ്ങൾ അവരുടെ ആ ഒരു പ്രോസസ്സിൻ്റെ ഇടയിൽ മാരേജിന് ശേഷം നഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ട്. അതാണ് സെക്കൻഡ് സ്റ്റാൻസയിൽ പറയുന്നത്. ഷീ ലോസസ് ഓൾ ദ മെറ്റീരിയൽ ആസ് വെൽ ആസ് ദ സ്പിരിച്വൽ, the intensity of her own life, fear and respect, the potential and the gold, everything that she has lost. Society expects a complete submission from the part of women, whereas it ignores man's role. Man's role is always ignored by the society, but society expects a complete submission from the part of women. The poem can be understood as an exposition of those unmentioned chapters of history where the contributions of women are ignored. That means the gold, the valuable things, the prospective, അതൊക്കെ contributions of women are mentioned in the poem, but that is always ignored by the society, the male dominated society. The third stanza concludes with a note of complacency. Complacency means that a feeling of satisfaction with yourself or with a situation so that you do not think of any change is necessary. ഇവിടെ പോയിട്ട് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മൾ വിമൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അൺക്രിട്ടിക്കലായിട്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വൈഫ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ ഒരു റോൾ അൺക്രിട്ടിക്കലായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈ ചെയ്യണം. മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മളതിനെ വിമർശനം ഉന്നയിക്കാനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചോദ്യം ചെയ്യാനോ ഒന്നും പാടില്ല. നമ്മളത് സ്വീകരിക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. നമ്മളതിൽ സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈഡ് ആയിരിക്കണം എന്നുള്ള ആ ഒരു മോക്കിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇവിടെ പോയിട്ട് പറയുന്നത്. വിത്ത് യുവർ സെൽഫ് ഓൺ വിത്ത് സിറ്റുവേഷൻ സോ ദാറ്റ് യു ഡു നോട്ട് നീഡ് തിങ്ക് ഓഫ് എനി ചേഞ്ച് ഇസ് നെസറി. ഒരു മാറ്റം ആവശ്യം ആവശ്യമില്ല, ഇങ്ങനെ ജീവിച്ച് മുൻപോട്ട് പോയാൽ മതി എന്ന് ചിന്തിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കോംപ്ലാസൻസി, ആ ഒരു കോംപ്ലാസൻസിയാണ് ഇവിടെ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. ഹിയർ ദ പോയറ്റ് അസ്യൂംസ് ദാറ്റ് ദോസ് അൺമെൻഷൻഡ് സെൽഫ്ലെസ് ആക്ട്സ് ഓഫ് വിമൻ ആർ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് എ ഡ്രോപ്പ് ഓഫ് വാട്ടർ in the shell, which gradually turns to pearls. This may be a strong female assertion of right and value of the hardship of women. It is said that the depth of it is only known only to him. Him here means that God എന്ന് മാത്രമേ ഈ കാര്യങ്ങൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഡെപ്ത്, ആ ഒരു ഹാർഡ്ഷിപ്പിൻ്റെ, ആ ഒരു സെൽഫ്ലെസ് ആക്ടിൻ്റെ, സ്വാർത്ഥതയില്ലാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് ഹസ്ബൻഡിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്, മക്കൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്, ഹസ്ബൻഡിൻ്റെ വീട്ടുകാർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം തന്നെ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഡെപ്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ദൈവത്തിന് മാത്രമേ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിയുകയുള്ളൂ. ദ പോയം എക്സ്പ്രസസ് ദ വാല്യൂസ് ആൻഡ് ആസ്പിറേഷൻസ് women have to give up to devote their lives to marriage. This is an unequal exchange for marriage when women have to sacrifice many precious things to fit into the role of a wife. Throughout the poem, the theme of feminism rises remarkably, and it leaves a hallmark of Dickinson's philosophy of gender equality. The poem is a hallmark of gender equality that asserts the gender equality is needed in the society. We can summarize the poem. She lost her pleasure in the life after marriage. A woman changes her life after marriage. She lost her pleasure to serve the patriarchy, to serve her husband. A woman has to give up when she gets married. Getting married and entering her new life, that means to become a wife. She focuses her attention on the changes and associated sacrifices of such as women and wife. She had to abandon the playthings and not a girl but a wife. She becomes a wife after marriage. She is no more a girl in the life. Here, husband should be considered as not less than a god. Patriarchy has represented husband as not less than a god. The word honorable is used as irony and mock on patriarchy. The word that honorable is used, it is as a mock on patriarchy. Women's womanhood is defined by shallow lens of marriage. So here the poet says that women's womanhood is only defined by the shallow lens of marriage, the shallow lens of patriarchy, shallow lens of male dominated society. So the poem is a feminist poem that she asserts for the gender equality in the society, and there is freedom for women as well, and the dreams, desires, feelings and ambitions of women must be equaled with the feelings and dreams and desires of male as well in the society. Thank you for watching this video.